Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Well, I hope you've all had a good weekend, because today we hit the semi-final of our Primarch Face Off. And oh man, have we got some interesting results to discuss. General spoiler warning to begin, as we will be discussing events from across the Warhammer 40k universe, so you have been warned. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. Okay, so our first quarter-final was Konrad Curze taking on CORAX. And man, this was a close result. 55% in favour of the Raven Lord. Corvus CORAX coming out with the win. I didn't know which way to lean for this match, and it definitely looks like some of you had a split opinion too. Almost a straight split straight down the middle. And I am surprised CORAX has come out the winner here. Not because I don't think he could win, because he absolutely could. But honestly, it just doesn't feel like CORAX has that kind of respect from the wider fanbase. So it really is nice to see that he does. Especially when it's against an opponent like Curze. Honestly, it's put a smile on my face to know. So CORAX moves on to the semi-final. Next up we had Magnus the Red taking on the Kargan, JAGHATAI Khan. And well, you want to talk about close. I really didn't think we'd see it, but we have a stone cold tie at 50% each. This was split right down the middle, and well, that leaves me to cast the deciding vote. And man, this is tough. I said before my gut said JAGHATAI, but my head said Magnus. So I really don't know which way to go. And that definitely seems that may have been the consensus here. But having to make my decision, I will go with my gut reaction, and that was JAGHATAI Khan. So JAGHATAI moves on to face CORAX in the semi-final. Next we had the Wolf King against VULKAN, and how could you do this to me, guys? VULKAN getting the win. I love VULKAN, but boy, I disagree with this one. Obviously, I know. I'm guessing it's the whole perpetual factor that's given him the nod here. And that does raise the question, if VULKAN beats Russ because of it, then who exactly could he lose to? Are we looking at the outright winner? Well, that question may be answered by my next result. Sanguinius defeating the Lion, 60% to 40. Credit where credit is due to the Lion. I think this is the closest result Sanguinius has had. But as ever, the Angel has taken the win and moves on to face the Lord of Drakes, not the Wolf King. Ugh. Okay, so results over. We're on to our first semi-final. CORAX versus JAGHATAI Khan. And I don't think we've been treated to any CORAX JAGHATAI interactions within the lore. At least none that spring to mind for me. And that's a crying shame, because it would be extremely interesting to see these two Primarchs interacting. The different philosophies they have in their nature, the different relationships with the Emperor. JAGHATAI's tense and somewhat estranged, CORAX's by comparison, trusting and, dare I say it, even caring. I would love to see something with these two involved. But in a fight, how would they fare? Well, they both have somewhat similar characteristics. CORAX though is often equipped with his jump pack, which you could say would give him the advantage in mobility. But the Khan is certainly no slouch, and if anything, I'd give him the nod in skill at arms, despite CORAX being more than skilled himself. JAGHATAI's not a boaster or a peacock. When he draws his weapon, he really means it. Now, Primarch on Primarch action, what have we seen? Well, we've seen CORAX easily get the better of Lorgar, only prevented from killing his brother by the arrival of Kurz. And JAGHATAI has gone up against Mortarion, with Mortarion being the one to retreat from battle. So both have what you could call a victory under their belts. But there is one thing that sticks out in my mind that could be the deciding factor. During the retreat on Istvan, CORAX has a moment of thought when he's viewing his brother Angron further down the mountainside in pursuit of the Raven Guard. And CORAX feels that if he were to face Angron, he would certainly die. And while yes, like I said previously, early in the series CORAX wasn't always written brilliantly, and those like Angron were made to seem very unstoppable, I just can't ever see JAGHATAI thinking that way. While he may not want to fight any of his brothers, he most certainly would. And he would never contemplate losing. When the Khan draws his sword, he does it to kill. So for me, JAGHATAI takes the edge. It's close, but I'm leaning JAGHATAI. On to Leman Russ versus VULKAN versus Sanguinius. Oh well, I guess I'll have to do an upload on how the Executioner would deal with each Primarch. Which actually doesn't sound like a bad idea. But back to today, VULKAN going up against the Angel. And well, let's get the obvious out the way. Sanguinius is the far superior fighter, and VULKAN the far bigger and stronger. The key debate here is going to be the perpetual factor. Yes, VULKAN can be a skilled fighter. Yes, Sanguinius is strong. They're Primarchs. But each of them has their own particular advantage. But I don't think many voted for VULKAN over Russ as the superior warrior. I could be wrong, but I think the deciding factor was VULKAN being a perpetual. So that most definitely remains the deciding factor here. So could Sanguinius do what the people think Russ could not? Could he keep VULKAN down long enough for a victory? Well, while I don't think Sanguinius has the brutal coldness of Russ, he does have two distinct advantages the Wolf King did not. First, his wings. The ability to fly is obviously a game changer, and flying isn't something Sanguinius does sporadically. He is equally at home in the air as he is on the ground. Taking VULKAN off the ground is a huge advantage. And secondly, his rage. To deliver enough damage to VULKAN, it would take a true flurry of blows. And if there's any Primarch outside Angron who could be lost in the rage of battle, it's definitely Sanguinius. He'd have to delve deep into the recesses of his darker nature, which he certainly doesn't like. But in unleashing that part, could he overwhelm VULKAN? But what of the Lord of Drakes? Well, the keys to victory for him would most definitely be ground and pound. Size and strength are his biggest advantage. So use it. Break the fragile wings of the Angel. Prevent him from leaving the ground. Grab hold and keep the distance close. Take the speed and mobility away. Could VULKAN do that enough to gain the win? Or does his healing gifts give him enough for victory alone? Well, I didn't believe it would be enough to win over Russ, so I definitely don't believe it would win over the Angel. But you guys most definitely surprised me before. Will you do so again? Who will move on to the final round? VULKAN or Sanguinius? Okay, you know the drill by now, guys. The link to the polls will be in the description. Make sure you vote ASAP, because tomorrow will be the grand final, where we decide the greatest fighter of all the Primarchs during the Great Crusade. Huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.